Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spring 2021 FA218 Painting 2. Um, Super small class, so thank you for sticking with me, and hopefully, you're excited for a little bit extra attention, a little maybe extra feedback. Um, and I always love painting too because it's more of the chance for me to see what you want to paint and less me telling you what to paint. You just got to kind of maybe follow a couple ideas and see where it goes. So, welcome back. I'm going to go through and talk about the syllabus really quick and then kind of show you the blackboard really fast, and then that'll be it for this video. This one I'm going to keep a little bit shorter just because most of you I have had in class before, and you kind of know me for a little while at least. So we'll go through and kind of get started. So at the very top, I have the QR codes for my Instagram and YouTube channels. Um, just an easy way to find my art, look at me up a little bit, know what kind of stuff I do, how I do it, that kind of stuff. So that might be helpful. My name is Jed Kimball. You can call me Mr. Kimball. I'm a professor of art here at MVCC. I've been here for almost 18 years. And my office is in AB. It's 118. It's right around the corner from the painting studio. The best way to get a hold of me all semester and no matter what is email. So my email is jkimball2, number 2, at mvcc.edu. Just remember to put that 2 in, otherwise, excuse me, it'll go to somebody else. He usually forwards it to me, but it's a lot faster if you get it right the first time. The associate dean is Todd Barrett, and his office is AB 203, and there's his office number and his email, and also his office specialist is Donna Smith, and they're the ones who are there to kind of help you figure out if you have problems with your transcript or you want to switch majors, those kind of things. They're definitely there to help you out with that. We will, because this class is billed as synchronous, we'll have a meeting every week, and it's going to be within the class time. So my plan is to meet with you guys on Tuesdays from 12:30 to 2 p.m. So just afternoon till 2. We won't always go all the way to that point, but that's kind of the window that I'm thinking of, to try and make sure that there's enough time to kind of touch base with each one of you. I mean, I don't have any concerns about like not having enough time to like talk to each one of you. So not that you feel like you have to always have feedback for everything all the time, but it should be a good opportunity to get you more feedback in more like real time because there's not as many people in the class. My office hours are going to be Monday through Friday, 10:30 to 11:30. So that's when I'll be able to answer emails. I am going to meet or record meetings with the other classes during the week at that time. So I may not always get back to you right at that second, but sometime shortly after 11:30 each day, you can probably expect a response if you send me an email. So the description for this class, it's basically a kind of continuation of painting one. Painting one, the first part, we really kind of focused on so much of the like skills and the still lifes and all that kind of stuff. And then when at the end we got a little bit more open to like letting you paint what you wanted to do. This is more like that, but with just some kind of general ideas or directions that I want to push you into. So you can read through your student learning in outcomes and do that on your own. I do have a, let's see if I can scroll down here. a recommended textbook, not required. There's a whole series of paintings by Watson Guptill called the Atelier series. It's just like the French word for studio, but Classical Painting Atelier by Juliet Aristides is a great book. It's a big, thick book. It's a good one because she kind of started off this series of books, and they're all very, very focused on giving you not only like studio information and different ideas about different projects, but a lot of history, a lot of kind of stuff behind the ideas behind what's going on. And that's good because sometimes I don't do the greatest job at that. So it's a good resource. Not required, just recommended. Besides that, there's one on portrait painting, there's one on still life painting, there's figure drawing one, there's a whole bunch of those. So if you're ever interested, you can just kind of look those up. The one thing that I realized I didn't do is I didn't switch up the projects on the syllabus. So my apologies. We'll go back and talk about those maybe when we move over to Blackboard at the end of this video, and just kind of play around with it. The sizes are correct. So like the beginning, I'm going to have you just work on some 11 by 14 canvas panels like we were using last semester. And then we'll graduate to some 16 by 20 stretched canvas. And then the final painting is supposed to be on 2 by 3 feet, 24 by 36 inch stretched canvas, something about that size. So that's the idea. But the subjects and the topics that are listed here are not necessarily the ones that I'm going to have you do. They're close to that, but we'll talk about those in a minute. Materials. Hopefully most of you already have the materials you need because you got them for the other class. You don't really need to get any new materials. If you take a look at this list and there's something you don't have that you want to get, or you ran out of white paint, just pick that up. But it might help to get a couple new brushes, that kind of stuff. Just kind of like fill in so that you don't end up having to run out at some point necessarily. So I'm just going to run through those. I usually recommend a titanium white that is 150 milliliters, so it's the big tube. And then all the other ones can be 37 milliliters. You can get ivory black, you can get any kind of black. Cadmium yellow is the one I like, or Hansa yellow. Viridian is a dark green. Cadmium orange is a great color. Ultramarine blue or cobalt blue. This also has cerulean. I wouldn't recommend cerulean, it's a tricky color. Alizarin crimson I like. Burnt umber is definitely a good one. Raw sienna is good for skin tones. Cadmium red, medium is usually what I go for, or light, very orangey. Transparent red oxide, it's not required, but if you have it, it can be helpful. It's like a nice transparent, it's kind of like alizarin crimson, but it's a little more brown. It actually might be a mix of alizarin crimson and burnt umber. So there you go. Odorless turpentine. If you're going to use any turpentine, I recommend the Mona Lisa brand or Gamsol, just because they have lower odors. Then there's some new ones from the Chelsea Classical Studios, and that's one thing that's not on here. Those ones are nice. They're non-toxic, so those can work as well. As far as the medium that I like to use, like to use Gamblin's Neo Meg, but Liquid is Winsor Newton's brand, and that one's also fine. Galkid is another one. Sketchbook, not necessarily required. You might use it. 2 bristle filbert number 4 or number 3 short hair brush. Those are great. A soft round for blending, or a liner. cut up t-shirts. 3 canvas panels, 11 by 14 is probably good. And then maybe two 16 by 20s. Um, I don't know if we'll get to, I would just get 2 of those. You can skip the 18 by 24 and then one 24 by 36. That one I would recommend buying that, at Michael's or Hobby Lobby and using a coupon so that you get it a lot cheaper. It should cost you hopefully somewhere around like $15 to $25, something like that. But it's a big canvas. So those aren't easy to, and like this says here, anytime you want to use, if you want to paint on wood instead and you want to buy wood and cut it to the right shape, wood's going to be cheaper than all this stuff, especially because it's not so artsy. The only trick is you have to kind of like sand it down and then put some acrylic on top or some gesso. Down at the bottom, you have websites. So these are websites where you can find places to buy supplies. The bookstore does not have these supplies. They might have some of them if you go in, but at the end of the semester last year, right before the semester started last year, this fall, bookstore just like the not the bookstore, but the supplier for the bookstore with art supplies kind of just threw her hands up. And after we'd gone back and forth for a couple of weeks about trying to get supplies, she just kind of said, "You're not giving me enough time." And then it never went anywhere from there. So I don't know that they have any of this stuff. So danielsmith.com, and a lot of this stuff has all migrated to dickblick.com, the one in the bottom middle. They have almost everything from all these other places. Pearl Paint is in New York City. ASW Express, I haven't used that for a while, so I don't know about that. Jerry's Artorama is still around. Shop Vasari Colors, that's some really high end paint. They have some great colors, but you gotta wait for the sales, and you have to really be ready to part with some money to buy some of those colors. They can go, a small tube can be almost $60. And for me, that's really a lot of money. I don't think any tube of paint you're buying that's a small paint should really be more than 20, 25 max. If you're paying more than that, then you might think about getting a different brand. Um, and these are all like artist top quality stuff. So Williamsburg Oil Paint is based in South Berlin, New York. Um, so what's the other brand? Not Liquid, but the other kind. Golden Paints is Williamsburg. Williamsburg joined with them. So you can pick up oil paint from them close by, and they usually give out a lot of free samples if you go down and you say you're an art student and you're at MV and all that stuff. We don't get down there very often, but it's a good place to get some paint, and Williamsburg paint is great. It's very creamy. That's about it for the supplies. The main thing that I would say to focus on early on, if you already have your paints, you already have your brushes, you already have that stuff, is make sure you just have a couple 11 by 14 canvas panels to kind of get started, because our first thing is going to be some warm-up paintings. So I'm going to switch to our course really quick. Painting 2. So here's the syllabus right at the top. Policies is attached there. Blackboard meeting is the next tab here. If you look at that, first meeting, warm-up paintings and syllabus, and that is on February 2nd, 12:30. So that's when we'll meet for our first time. Hopefully you've already seen this by then. So I've got just 5 different project groups. So the first one is a couple paintings. It's not a ton, but it's a couple. In the past it was 3, and I would have people collaborate, but with where it is right now, I think we're just gonna I'll do something a little bit different, and it'll just be a couple paintings. The portrait palette painting is where we'll go through and you're going to use a palette and a concept, a style of an artist to try and make a portrait of someone else from the class. Um, Simple palette we've talked about last semester. That may change a little bit. An indirect methods is the idea of a painting that's layered and you build it up. And then the big paint final is your bigger painting, and it's going to be similar to last semester where you get to kind of pick what it is and how you want to approach it and what you want to do. It's just going to be big. And the thing about making a bigger painting is you start to really quickly find out what do you know, what do you not know, what do you have to figure out as you're painting, or do you plan it all before and have it all ready to go and there's no mysteries. It's you're going to just do this. That's how we'll work our way through the semester. Other than that, hopefully you got my other email that kind of sent you the syllabus, told you about our first meeting. So hopefully you'll be there. And other than that, things that I mentioned in that email, ask questions if you have them. Make sure you document your work as you're going. Most of you were able to do that very well last semester. I think I had almost everybody, but maybe one of you in painting one last semester. So I think we're pretty good to go. So let's have a great semester. I'm very excited. Start on some new paintings, show you some new ideas, and hopefully just see what you are all able to make. So let's have a great semester, and we'll see you on Tuesday, February 2nd.